How's it going, everyone? John here, the host of Spear Talk. You might not know this, but before I record an episode, I like to break a sweat. And I do that using the Chop Fit. Over the course of the past year, the Chop Fit has allowed me to lose weight, tone up my body, and feel even more amazing about myself. A feeling that you should all feel about yourselves as well. If you use this code, SpearChop10, you get $10 off your order. Once again, use code SpearChop10 for $10 off your Chop Fit order. It'll change your life. Thank you. How's it going, everyone? John here, the host of Spear Talk, and today I got two incredible guests for the special Halloween edition. This is coming out on Halloween night, and today we have, I'd like to call my co-host today, Zach Myers of the platinum-selling rock band Shinedown, the guitar player, and the avid fan of all things Halloween of Michael Myers. And today, the other guest, we have James Jude Courtney, The Shape, Michael Myers, the current incarnation of the incredible serial killer, Halloween 2018, the new movie coming out, Halloween Kills, this October, and obviously Halloween Ends after that. So welcome, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us. I love that you said coming out in October, even though this airs at the last day of October.
It does, but I kind of want to play it safe because I don't want to assume people are going to see the new movie yet.
Okay, listen, we got our hopes up last year and it didn't come out, so it's fun.
But anyway, thank you guys for being here. And I had this idea to do something cool for October. And what better guest to have is the expert in the house, Zach, all things Halloween, and the man himself, James. So, again, thank you guys.
Thanks for having us.
A good pairing, man, because Zach knows tons more than I do. Tons more. Hearing Chris Nelson nerd out, like, okay, dude, I'm at the third grade level when it comes to like Halloween trivia.
And I want to start by saying that I grew up, I loved Friday the 13th, Freddy Krueger. I think I lean more towards the fantasy, sci-fi kind of gore horror. I never really appreciated the Michael Myers Halloween stuff. I saw Season of the Witch out of order, and I was kind of like, this makes no sense, so it kind of threw me out of a loop. And when it came to start doing security for Shinedown, Zach, we watched these movie watch-alongs, Halloween, on bus rides. I really grew my appreciation towards the character and what John Carpenter really put together. And if you could kind of start this off, James, how did you kind of, the audition and the lead into this character, what in your life was happening at the time where you got the call, like, hey, you should audition for this?
Well, it was an exercise in letting go. I had decided, I moved from Los Angeles back to South Carolina, close to my family. I had made the decision that I was focusing on my writing and producing my own films, and the only work I would do is when friends called me. So, I did a few commercials, did some stunt coordinating, did a little bit of, stuff for commercial work, and I was just, hanging, just spending, really, really focusing on. I've been gone for 35 years, so my nieces and nephews and my brothers and my parents and my cousins, just really immersing myself in being close to the family and writing, and I get a call from, and I bought a place, I gutted it, I built it out myself with the help of a contractor, but I wired it, I tore out the walls and built new walls and hung drywall, so I did all the stuff that I'd never had the chance to do in my life, because it's always been so busy, and I just wanted to try it. It was fun. I get a call from Ron Hutchinson, who was the stunt coordinator on the Rob Zombie films. And I'd known him for 35 years. We worked together on a couple films. I never worked for him. I'd worked as an actor when he was a stunt coordinator. But he always meant to hire me. He never did. And then I get a call, and he says, hey, Jimmy, I'm doing another Halloween. I'm like, awesome, man. Good for you. That's freaking awesome. We have a blast. He goes, well, he said, I read the script, and I called Malik Akkad and David Gordon Green, and I said, look, guys, this script is different than any other script that's ever been done for Halloween. It's for Michael Myers, you're going to need a really good actor and who's a really good stuntman, and there's not many of those guys around. And there's not many guys who do both. So he said, do you know anybody? And basically, he knew one guy, and that was me. So, well, actually, David Gordon Green said, well, he's got to be 6'3", 200 pounds, and he's got to be in his 60s. He was very specific about what he wanted. And Ron, it was really my friends Chris Christopher Nielsen, who's a stunt guy, and his wife Jennifer, who, when Ron was pondering, and Ron knew me, but Ron was pondering, who can I get? And it was Jen and Chris that brought my name up, and so I got a call. I went down. They were shooting in Charleston. I'm living in Columbia, South Carolina right now, presently, and so I went down to Charleston to be put on tape, and it was a very standard tape interview. What have I done? What is my psychological approach to a character like this? They had me move it, just to get in the feel of the way that I would move, and I kind of freaked him out a bit, the casting director, because I talked about the sexual nature of serial killing, which people don't really think about. But my first character that I played in a film called Free Maniac, which is what it is. The director and I laugh about it now. We knew nothing about making films. We made a film though, and I stayed for a weekend in a psych ward, a lockdown psych ward, and I had a psychiatrist and an orderly with me almost constantly, like educating me as to what paranoid schizophrenic would do and why he murders, and I interviewed these people. So I talked about that at the interview, and I was informed, I was educated as to the sexual nature of psychopathic killers and of serial killers. So I finished the interview. I literally walked out in the parking lot, got my pickup truck, and I didn't even get out of the parking lot. Blumhouse calls and they said, "Hey, are you available to shoot the film?" I'm like, "Yeah." Didn't even get to the freeway, which is 2 miles away, and they called and said, "Hey, David Gordon Green wants to meet you. Can you come back?" The rest is history. I mean, it was like, as far as I know, they didn't look at another person after they saw me.
Now, Zach, is a fan, obviously, of the character, the franchise, between the Rob Zombie movies to the one that came out in 2018 with James, were you chomping the bit to see what character or what direction they're going to go in and what person actually going to play this character?
Yeah, because I knew they were going to have to delve into the actual character. So like what Jim brought up, that's kind of, what I know he had told me that before, but the fact that they, for the first time ever, were looking for an actor, not just a stuntman. This is forgetting the zombie ones, right? It wasn't just a stuntman's job. There had to be some sort of depth for this character. Listen, for me, as being a person who is friends with Rob Zombie and knows Rob and toured with Rob, it's no secret to our fans that those movies left a lot to be desired as far as I was concerned. They weren't my favorite movies, and and as Jim knows and as you know, I take this movie more seriously than most people do or should, probably, because it was such a thing in my life that I love. So I was very interested in it. I was also, when you erase everything after Halloween 1, then it gets more interesting. I always said that, making it his sister took a little bit of the lure and a little bit of the kind of ambiguity out of it. You know what I mean? Like he's just trying to kill his family members. I'm safe now. It wasn't just this psychopathic guy who was just trying to kill everybody. It was, okay, this person's after a specific person. And so now that when they made it not his sister, it's like, all right, this is more, I liked what they did. And honestly, like in the arc of the Halloween series for me, I mean, that's in the top 3 or 4 movies, 2018. Like it was done really, really well. And everyone knows me. I'm a harsh critic of some of them. So, I thought Jim nailed it. And the parts that I didn't like, I let him know within the first 2 hours of meeting him, because that's of how serious I take this movie.
When Zach actually saw us in the theater, actually with some of the front rag staff.
We went with the Fright Rags people.
And we loved the movie, watched it, talked after. But after the movie, that one scene, I know I talked to you about this, Jim, already, about the catering one day, the Shinedown show. The scene in the truck where you have to carry the body, he was able to carry your body to the back of the truck after whatever rammed you, injected you. When stuff like that happens in a movie, as an actor yourself, you know what is not possible because you're the one doing the action. So when you see the movie as a finished product or even a trailer, you kind of sit back and wonder why certain stuff was left in the movie and they didn't approach you to be like, hey, is this believable?
Well, there's 2 elements. I have something called the yeah right quotient, and I feel like, and usually this more pertains to someone who's a master of something or who does something really well. For instance, if you guys see the workings, behind the scene workings of a band on tour, or Zach sees a guitarist and he catches what he's playing. So you guys, so someone who's an expert at something will look at something and critique it from a very high level. If those people buy into what you've done, there's only one or two rights, and there's some sort of artistic license involved. Then generally, I think what happens is they tell people like, "Holy shit, this movie's amazing. This is amazing." Case in point is I was writing the screenplay for Tom Benson, the owner of the Saints, on one of his jockeys, Randy Romero, and Bill Heller was an Eclipse Award-winning journalist. He and I were co-writers. I was at the Saratoga meet when Secretariat came out, right? So here's all these journalists in front of me. They're talking about Secretariat, and they didn't like it. And what they didn't like was stupid things like, well, he pisses on the guy's shoe. Horses don't piss around the fucking corner. They piss straight. The dude would have to stand under the fucking horse. Okay, not a big deal, but their right quotient was filled to the max. They didn't like it. Well, they're journalists, so they told everybody they knew that they couldn't stand the movie, and the movie didn't do well. So there's that. I think there's the other side of it is, especially when you're in fantasy and horror, there's a certain suspension of disbelief that you allow for because we're in a fantasy world anyway, So it's kind of balancing that, when I just, when I sit, and I prefer to see something alone instead of in a crowd, like at a premiere. I prefer to see the film first. I hate premieres if I haven't seen the film.
I know we had a day off or a show day in Calgary, and again, Zach and I went to a local Comic-Con. Zach met and talked with Dick Castle, Robin Englund, all these guys.
Yeah.
But it was really cool seeing Zach talk to Dick, because I know how much that character, his portrayal of that, is obviously with the Halloween. So it was really cool to see that. But was it a proper passing the torch for you, and how important was it to actually get the approval from Dick on 2018 to kind of help you kind of maybe make the character your own, but kind of be like, here's the proper torch to a guy that can really make this character his own?
Well, he came in on week 3, so I had done all the work. I'd already prepared. I was already prepared. I knew what I was doing. He came in. We never talked about character at all. We just became fast friends. I mean, there's certain people like when I met Zach, we knew each other. Boom. I mean, like there's certain people you vibe with, and so he came in. Automatically, we were friends, and. But we both agreed we wanted to inhabit the same scene. That's what we wanted to happen, because we wanted an official passing of the torch, and that happened in the window scene. When Laurie Strode pulls up, he's in the window. When they shoot the mirror out, same scene. That's me, and it was done for multiple reasons. One, because his face is longer, and that mask it's form fitted. This mask is form. This is a hero mask behind me. Well, it's a screen-used mask, so it's fitted to my face. And so when Nick puts it on, his head is longer, so it stretches out the mask, so you can only get long shots on it. So we do the mirror shot. Not only were we close to my face, but for shooting a projectile with a weapon about a foot and a half behind me, shooting within 6 inches of my head. Nick Castle doesn't like to do that kind of thing. I get off on it. I mean, I kind of like dangerous shit. So, so we knew, we were hoping for it, and when we found out what they would have figured out, we were like, yeah.
Zach, as a fan of the 2018 version, what was your best part of Michael Myers' character in terms of what you walked in before going into the movie, what you thought was going to happen, and how you reacted to after the movie?
I mean, I thought, I could tell where they put the Nick scene without even knowing, because I was like, oh, they had him do the head nod. Like, okay, that's really cool. And then you could tell the other one was James. So I thought that was really cool. Like, I catch things like that. So when James says like the little nod, like that was a cool nod. Like it was the passing of the torch to kind of this person who's doing it. I thought Jim did it great, honestly. Like I said, my main issues were with the writing of what we talked about earlier, which was, I think I was 30 minutes into hanging out with Jim for the first time when I said, there's no way that doctor picks you up and puts you in the back of the car by himself with one arm. There's no way this happens. But that's not on Jim. No, I thought he did great, man. I thought he handled the character well. There's been people who have played Michael Myers in the past where it wasn't a good fit. He has to move. you know, Jim said it best, man, and I had never thought about this. It has to kind of move like music, right? Like it has to be this fluid. He has a way about him where, and also you gotta remember, you're acting, but no one can see your face, so everything is your body. Like everything you do comes out, and I think there's a way to present a lot of falsities with that, and I think Jim did a great job of it. You know, and that's what I told him when we met. You know, I was like, man, I go, it's really cool to see you take this as seriously as he did, and I thought it came off on camera. You know, we're not going to name names, but there's, you know, because Jim has to do just autograph signings next to all these guys. There's been guys who have played that character in the past where it felt lumbery and it felt, you know, like it just didn't feel right.
Like a stuntman portraying a character.
It felt like a guy who was used to doing stunts and wasn't used to necessarily doing a walk or doing the, you know, it has to be this, you know, he's never in a hurry, you know, it's always kind of on his own time. And I think that was always, you know, but when he can be brutal, he can be brutal. And I thought that was really good, man. I was, again, you and I saw it together twice. And within a week, we saw it with the Fright Rags people, and then when we did the suicide prevention walk in D.C. at the Lincoln Memorial, we went and saw it the night before that too. So, you know, both times I was utterly impressed. You know, with how, you know, it's a really good movie, and there's been some really not great Halloween movies. So
now, Zach, you're not a real big fan of gore per se, like unnecessary violence,
No.
blood. It has to serve a purpose.
Yes.
Was there any death scenes in the latest 2018 version, or something that you see in the new trailer for Halloween Kills that you're kind of hesitant to say maybe this might not be Michael Myers? Because I'm going to say that first woman, or the woman that gets her head chopped off, it scared the crap out of me because it was so violent. And
it was, but it wasn't gory.
Right, but so for something like that, James, how do you work with that actress or her stunt woman to, like, it really felt like you killed her, and so that's
what it's supposed to feel like.
Very appalling, but really done well.
I mean, honestly, that's the idea. Is like, you know, I met Jimmy Cagney way back in the day. I went to New York and to work on a film that, as many films happened, didn't get made. We were going through and Jimmy Cagney's thing was acting is all about standing on 2 feet and telling the truth. So the simple truth is, for me and for every cell of my being, that kill is real. You know, it's just in a controlled circumstance where I'm skilled enough at what I do not to hurt somebody, and that's a huge part of what we do when we do these kinds of scenes, fight scenes, violence scenes, kills. But really, I think the audience. There's a wonderful treatise, Power versus Force, by David Hawkins, MD, PhD. He studied human consciousness, and he eventually discovered that he could use deltoid kinesiology or applied kinesiology, muscle testing, to discern all these different things that you could answer, you know, questions to. But one of the things he discerned is, so for instance, if you're holding your arm out strong, like really, really strong, someone's pushing down on it, someone's in front of you telling the truth, your arm will stay strong. If someone's lying to you, you'll get weak. Your entire body knows when someone's lying to you. It's just a matter of whether we're going to be adept enough to pick up on the fact that our entire body is going, who's lying to you? Well, it's the same with a performance. You know, if you're performing, and man, I'll throw props to these guys at Shinedown and Smith and Myers, man. If you've ever been to a show, you see how much love these guys give, how deeply invested they are in every frickin' note. I mean, you're right. The audience knows that. They feel it. They know it's truth. They know it's love, and they get it. So, you know, for those kills, and especially that kill we're talking about right now, in my being, that was 100% real, and it had to be. And for her, it was too.
Before you put the mask on and get in character, and then after you get in character, is there something you have to put yourself mentally and physically to prepare for that role or that filming? Because I don't picture you as somebody who's throwing the mask on and I'm Michael Myers. Like, it seems like a process.
Yeah, he can't do that. We talked about that. I want him to answer this, but I have a story of that after.
Well, it's the space I go to is beyond 3D, beyond time and space. It's based on lots and lots of spiritual work. It's based on lots and lots of psychological, emotional work. It's based on the shamanic work I've done in South America, North America, the South American shaman doing plant medicine, North American shaman doing plant medicine, African shaman doing plant medicine, always in a sacred nature. So there's a lot of depth, and I'm okay with feeling the dark places and feeling safe. So what I do is I breathe it in. I mean, literally, it's carried on the breath. I breathe it in. I become that. That's who I am. And there's a little part of me that's aware, like if David calls me over to a monitor, or Paul, the camera operator, says, "Hey, I need your head to land right here," or "I need this." Those kinds of things I can edit while I'm still in that space. But I ain't talking to anybody, man. I'm in that space. And then when I hear check the gate, when it's the last shot of that setup, I hear check the gate. I breathe it out, and about that time, Chris Nelson comes over, pulls the mask off me, and then I'm me, 100% me. And David Gordon Green told me in 2018, he told me that he'd only worked with one other guy who went as deep, and that guy couldn't get out of it. He had a psychotic break and ended up in psych ward for 2 months. And not to toot my own horn or anything, I'm just saying there's a way to do it and there's a way not to.
Right.
Yeah, so when Jim came to the show in South Carolina, which was his first Shinedown show, I had a mask up there. I had a 2018 mask, and I said, I told John, I go, man, it would be really cool. Sparky, whenever we have guests, sometimes whether it's celebrity, whoever it is, will come out and they'll have him do a guitar change, like come out and bring me a guitar and switch guitars out as he does every single song. I was like, man, it'd be cool if we could get Jim to come out in the mask. And I kept telling Sparky about it. I was like, dude, I'm like, don't bug him. I'm like, but it'd be cool if he did it. And then afterwards, Sparky was like, yeah, you're going to have to talk to him about that. He was like, because he had a good reason. And then afterwards, I talked to him, and it's like, and it honestly made me more comfortable with Jim, and it made me feel better because how seriously he takes this character that I take seriously as well. Like, he has to go to a place to do this, to be this person. Like, he goes to a really dark place to do that, and to just do it haphazardly at a rock show and come out on stage. Like, why would you want to put yourself in that place while you're like having fun and you're there to have a good time? And I'm like, man, like, I gained so much respect for him instantly when that happened. Like, it was so kind of, because honestly, if he would have had the mask on, no one would have known who the hell it was. You know what I mean? So like, it would have only been for me. And in a way, I felt selfish about it. But at the same time, like, I gained so much respect when he did it. Now, secondly, fast forward to me being on set for Halloween Kills. And I'm talking to my friend for the 2-3 days that I'm there. And we're just chatting and blah, blah, blah. And I never really saw him other than playback monitors with the mask on. I on purpose. Whenever Chris would put the mask on him, Chris, another good friend of mine, I would walk away. I didn't want to see it. And I remember the last day I was only there for a half day, and I was like, I kind of want to see it. So I can't really explain the scene. He was in a house, and he was upstairs, and Chris put the mask on him, and he looked down at me, and it fucking scared the dog shit out of me. And he was looking at me like he can't make a facial expression. He's clearly telling me bye, like, hey, thanks for coming out. But it's like he looked down at me, and like every childhood fear I ever had came back. It was daytime outside. Obviously, we're shooting in a studio on a set, but it was dark in there. It was mortifying. It was mortifying. Like it put me in like this weird mental place.
Like, obviously, the guitar change you're talking about is the second chance when Sparky, whoever
comes out and grabs the guitar. Yeah.
But he's like, oh, yeah, I'll do it. And then literally 5 minutes later, Zach walks back to the area, and everyone's just dead.
Just murdered everybody. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have asked him to put on the mask. Oh, wow, he really went to this place.
To kind of piggyback on that, Zach, I know for the last 3-4 years, seeing you get ready for a show, and your time before the set and time after the show, you have to wind down with your certain routine. But is it the same type of feeling for you that once you're on stage and locked in, you have to be a different persona? Or like, how does it feel for you in terms of that?
I think he's talking to you, Jim.
No, that's
talking to you.
Oh, that's for me? Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing, right? Like Brent I told Brent recently about 6 months ago, because I think he finally asked, he's like, you don't like, I don't in the dressing room with 15,000 people outside in the arena or the amphitheater, and I'm not sitting there like listening to like pump up music. Like I'm not like trying to get myself pumped up. Like, but Brent was like, you'll listen to like James Taylor and John Mayer and like you'll be like Jackson Brown and like he goes, but then like 120 seconds before you go out there, this thing hits. And I told him, and now he like uses this quote about me all the time, which kind of makes me sound like a weirdo, but I'm like, you know, I'm not trying to get, this is war to me. You know what I mean? I was a bullied kid. I was a kid that got beat up. I was a kid that was told I was never going to do anything. I was a kid that told by my teachers that I would never be a successful musician. You know, so I'm like, I'm not facing 15,000 happy people out there. Like this is fucking war, man. Like I'm going out there and I'm not trying to waste all my energy beforehand, you know, slapping myself in the face and going, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to kill Louisville tonight. You know, like I kind of like what James says, like I'm in like this kind of calm, meditative state. And then when those lights go out, that's the switch for me. And it's war. And I have no friends. And now, granted, you see me out there every night, John. Like, I'm making eye contact with kids. I'm like, I want everybody to have a good show. But it's still a bubble, right? It's still a spacesuit. I'm still, you know, becoming this person. Because off stage, I'm not that outgoing. I'm not that guy that I am on stage. I'm a shy dude, you know?
On stage, you do have that twinkle in your eye where you know just by looking at you, you're on stage. You're in a different zone. And I'm having so much fun, but at the same time, I think the twinkle is because I was that kid in the back row. For my whole life was that kid in the back row. So I'm trying to make eye contact with that kid. I want to make everybody feel like, you know, they can do what I'm doing because they really can. But again, like, you know, when I'm on stage, it's still this metaphysical type thing that I go through to go on stage, you know, and people can laugh that off if they want, but you know, that's just how I do it, you know. But I'm, you know, I would rather do that than have this guy that's like trying to get pumped up and like lift weights before he goes on. It's like, I don't know, that's fucking goofy to me.
Well, actually, you know, it's interesting. They did studies, and I think Zach and I think we come from the same place on this. So they did studies on regular Army, regular Marines, and then Special Forces guys. So at rest, a regular soldier will his cortisol levels will be low, brain chemistry and brain waves are normal, heart rate is normal. As soon as they get called into battle, heart rate jumps up, brain activity changes, cortisol levels go up. Special Forces guys are the opposite. When they don't have a mission, their cortisol levels are up, their brain waves are skewed, they're anxious. They can't wait. They're chomping at the bit to get out there. As soon as they know they got a mission, everything calms down. Cortisol levels drop, heart rate gets slow, brain activity gets really focused. And I think I would bet dollars and donuts if you tested Zach and you tested me, that's exactly what happens. You drop into that place, that place that the warrior drops into, and you're connected with the universe, man.
Now, you mentioned, obviously, you're part of the first actor for this role is actually played as an actor and a stuntman, but when it comes to insurance purposes and certain stunts, obviously you're a stuntman, you do all this stuff, but will someone like Blumhouse be like, hey, use the stunt double for this fire scene, or when you punch the glass, use a stuntman? Like, how does it work, and how do they treat you in terms of actor versus stuntman?
Yeah, because you got to play Michael Myers too. So if something happens to you,
yeah. Okay, so in 2018, they brought in a stunt guy to do the stair fall. So the actual rolling down the stairs is somebody else. And I've done stair falls. I can do them. They're easy to do. They also hurt. Like, I mean, you guaranteed you're getting cherry bruised, right? So they were like, and they came to me and they're very respectful because they know that I like doing my own stuff and I don't want somebody else done it. So they're like, look, we really need to, you know, it's in the middle of the show. We can't afford a concussion. We can't afford a broken bone. And I'm like, you know what? They hurt. The guy's 30 years old. Let him make his bones, man. Let him. It's all you, dude. And on Halloween Kills, I can tell you they brought in a guy. It's not in the movie, so I can say basically they brought in somebody to jump, you know, about I'd say about 10 feet on the concrete. But you know, when you do a jump on the concrete, you're looking at like 15 takes, 20 takes. That easily could have been a broken ankle, or twisted ankle, or sprained knee. So they had a guy do that. Ended up not even being in the movie. So that's it. When it came to the end of Halloween 2018, Ron wasn't there. He couldn't make it. There's another stunt coordinator came in, and Tom's a great guy. I'd never worked with him before, and so he didn't know exactly what I could do. So he wanted to bring in a double, and I was like, "No, dog, no, it's my show." I mean, fire is dangerous. Fire is super dangerous. It has a mind of its own. You never know what's going to happen with fire. Maybe you can take all the precautions in the world, but I was like, "Nah, man, it's my show." And then Chris Nelson was like, "Nobody puts that mask down, but nobody." I mean, especially because they're doing a close up on me, but I live for that stuff, man. I love being close to the edge. I mean, it's like pulling teeth to put a helmet on when I ride a motorcycle. I just love the feeling of being close to death.
Yeah, not me. I don't have that same. I'm gonna stay as far away from death as I possibly can. So you're saying the scene through the bars in the basement, that's real fire.
That's real fire. Okay. Oh yeah.
We were talking about that on our last podcast because Paul, who does the podcast with us, he's like, I just didn't like the trailer scene, he said, because it looked CGI. And I said, I can tell you that was not CGI. I said, because I was on the set. I saw them building the house, the exterior of the house on the back lot in North Carolina. So I was like, dude, that was a real fire, man. They set a real house on fire.
Dude, I'll say, so in the trailer, walking through that house, I'm wearing 2 no-neck suits, fireproof suits, soaked in gel, which was freezing freaking cold. And then I have a hood on, but I've got my eyes, and I had to, from the back of the house, I had to count the steps and memorize them because it was so freaking hot. If I'd have opened my eyes, I would have blistered my eyeball. And I couldn't breathe. I had to hold my breath. I didn't breathe or see until I walked out onto the porch.
So you did all the fire stuff at the beginning of this movie?
Oh, yeah, everything.
Oh my God, dude. Fuck fire, man. Fuck some fire forever, dude. We have fire on stage, and we do this. Everybody will see the show by the time this comes out, but there's fire on the front. We have fire up front now.
Nice.
So there's fire like right next to me as I'm singing. I mean, literally 2.5 feet away. And then so in Sturgis, we have 2 guys, one shooter and then one kind of spotter on the other side of the stage, right? So if the wind, Matt's testing wind, he's doing all these things. So if the wind gets too crazy, he's not going to shoot the fire. So we were in Sturgis the other night. Flame goes off. Wind comes in a little bit. I'm like, dude, the flame. I was like, dude, what a terrible way to die. If you got caught on fire, I kind of like, if I had to do stunts and I know the gel and stuff, I've been in a movie studio where I put some of the gel on my shirt and lit it on fire and you can't really feel anything other than the heat on the uncovered parts. But dude, no, fuck some fire, man. You're a man's man, dude. There's no way I could ever do that, dude.
Well, the weird thing is and both of those fire gags were really, I had a girlfriend who was still a very, very good friend of mine. Beautiful model. She was the LA girl back in the day, and she's a very talented woman. She used to breathe fire, and she breathed fire once in an audition. It came back, caught the wind, came back. She had 27 surgeries on her face. I mean, fire not to be messed with. And she still is a stunning woman. She had to go through a lot of pain to get back there. But no, man, it's not. Look at Kane Hodder, man. Kane was burned badly.
Yeah.
But it's rock and roll, dude. You got to do it.
No, man, I like a safer job.
So obviously we know that John Carpenter, the original incredible director, incredible legacy, but his music obviously is just as equally important. Do you think Halloween would be as successful as today without his iconic score? And James, obviously in the new movies, he's involved with the music and stuff, but kind of tweaked it a little bit to make it more current. How important is that when you hear the music and stuff on set for you as the character itself?
Which one do you want to go first?
I'll go James first.
Okay. First of all, music is absolutely essential to a successful film. I mean, hands freaking down. If you can see a film before it's scored, or even see a film with a temporary score, and then see what a final score is, especially when you have a good music director and a really, really hot composer, Wow, man. I mean, the difference is night and day, and I mean, it's a component that you can't do without. So, John Carpenter's score is it goes right to the amygdala, it goes right to the part of the brain, the fear center, and you can't escape it. You can't escape it. Good music does that. Good music takes you a place that you either can't escape or you don't want to escape. And so, I mean, John Carpenter's, I mean, he's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant, and I'm really grateful that he signed on for all that. Because in my mind, he's done such an amazing job. Other than that, all he did was give blessings to the scripts. He really wasn't involved in the making of it, with the scoring, hands down.
Yeah, I remember hearing that when they showed the original Halloween, there was no music. And he was going to hire somebody to score it, but they didn't have any money, so he scored it. And so you think about that, like, think about a movie that just gets, like, you watch it in a test screening and everybody's like, this isn't scary. And then what the director, writer goes in and is like, I'm going to score it. And it's the most horrifying score you've ever heard. I mean, I don't know if there's, other than maybe The Social Network and a couple other ones that I've, scores are so important to movies, but I'm talking about just some of the best scores ever are in those Halloween movies, and it's funny enough now, before we play Devil, we use a Carpenter score as an intro from 2018 when you're chasing Allison with the big string, that thing, that's the intro to Devil now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's that, and then it says, then it stops for 2 seconds, and it goes to the classic Donald Pleasance, the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes, and then the song comes in. But yeah, I listened to that 2018 soundtrack like when I'm working out. Like it's so good, and it like Jim said, it puts you in a place, man. It's like and I think that's what John's really incredible at, and the fact that he chose to do these movies this far in, is really cool.
Now, when you watch that trailer for the first time, James, are you watching that as a fan, or are you super critical of your work and this and what you're showing in the movie?
I really, to be honest with you, I don't like watching myself because I'm immediately going into editing mode. It's very, I don't enjoy my own work, and I wonder how Zach feels about it, because it has such a deep and rich history. I mean, I'm really interested to hear what he has to say, because music is so much different than in that respect. I mean, I'm really interested to hear what he has to say in terms of Zach, what happens when you listen to your music? I mean, what's that like for you?
I mean, I think you said, I think they're so different, right? Like when you do this, you are hired as an actor, as a stuntman, but at the end of the day, it's someone's movie, that they're making. So you got the best editors, you got the best director for this thing, right? When we do music, it's all us. We're especially now, because we don't even use an outside producer. Our bass player, we do it. Our bass player has a studio in Charleston. That's our home studio. That's what we do. So I have to listen to my music all the time. And I try not to. I try to listen to it. Obviously, I need to listen to it objectively, because I need to say, let's change this. Let's change this. But you don't want to wear yourself out on it, because, listen, at the end of the day, I'm a Shinedown fan. I love our music. I love the music we make. But yeah, it's definitely different. I got to listen to it all the time, because I got to say, well, what if we did this? Or what if we tried this? Or what if we tried this? So it's, do I want to listen to it all the time? No. Do I get burnt out on our music? Yeah. Does part of me wish I could just do my part and walk away and go, all right, this is this, but I'm so close to it, I can't do that. But I can definitely understand, like what you're saying, like, all right, so put it on like music videos. Like, I do not like watching Shinedown music videos. Like, and they're good. I think we've done the better music videos, than they're not campy and they're not cheesy. But yeah, I'm with you there. Like, watching myself is different. Because I'm like you. I'm post editing when the thing's already printed.
Yeah.
I could have done that differently. I could have done this differently. And that'll, I think you're like me in the way of being a perfectionist in that way, where it'll drive you crazy. And I'm like, I can't. It's not worth it to drive myself crazy of something that's already printed. It's already out there. I wash my hands of it.
Love it. Obviously, the pandemic, meet and greets and conventions and stuff got altered. I know there's nothing really going on with Shinedown meet and greet wise, but I know conventions are starting to kind of trickle in, James. But to take out, not even talking about the pandemic, but how important to you is it to have a fan base that after the first movie has really resonated with you and wants to meet you and take pictures with you, and it must be an awesome feeling to feel like your character really hit home.
I mean, it's heartwarming. It's heartwarming. It's humbling. It's well, you know, like Zach was saying, you know, like you look at the real world, you see, you see the beauty of it, and this experience, especially meeting the fans at conventions, is like little drops of love. Only I get 700 drops of love in a day. You know what I mean? So the thought that people would wait in line 2, 3, 4 hours to meet me for a few moments and sign an autograph and take a selfie, and so I make it a point to like connect eye to eye. I set the intention in the morning on a spiritual level to connect heart connection, like any kind of spiritual connection you can have, any kind of healing that can happen between it. And just for me, I just set that intention, and then and I'm the beneficiary of just an amazing amount of love. And so I mean, sometimes I go, dude, how did I get so lucky? I mean, it's one thing to play a role, or to do the acting stunt thing and to play a character and to do it well. I mean, I'm confident enough in my ability and what I do, and that to me is just, it's what I do. I mean, I don't think about it, but this is a whole other ballgame. I mean, to have that kind of love come at me on a consistent basis is crazy.
Now, Zach, when you've done the meet and greets, I've seen you actually have to step away behind the backdrop or outside the room because someone will tell you something that's maybe too personal, whatever. But whatever it is, it hits home to you, whether they tell you about their sick kid or something they're going through. Is that a job you feel like, as one of the 4 band members of Shinedown, that is your job to now listen to these people and do whatever you can to help them, whether it is listening to them or giving them the 90 minutes that night they came to see?
I think it's both, right? I think that does a part of me wish I could just go up there and give them everything I have for 2 hours and that be the end of our relationship? Yeah, there is a part of me that, whether people want to hear that or not. I never dreamed of, I'm the biggest U2 fan ever, right? I'm not going to go sit outside Bono's hotel. You know what I mean? Like, no one's a bigger U2 fan than me, but it's like, but at the same time, when you choose to do a meet and greet and you choose to put something like that on sale and people pay to meet you, you know what you're doing. So I'm prepared for it. Yeah, I get that way. To be completely honest and kind of upfront about it, that suicide gets me when people bring up somebody in their life that committed suicide, because my cousin committed suicide when I was younger, and it still to this day affects my life. And sick kids, man, I don't, John's seen me just break down crying several times, and I don't like to do that in front of people because, I'm gonna let out a secret here. I don't want to deal with their emotions, and that may sound rude, but like when they tell me if their kid, got sick or died or something, like I'm gonna go cry about that because that's an unfair thing to me, right? So like, but like at the same time, like I already have enough emotions going on. I don't need their emotions too. You know what I mean? And that, to some people, I think a lot of people will get that and understand where I'm coming from. And a lot of people are probably going to think that I'm some rude asshole that is just cold. It's not true. Cause it's making me cry. I'm the one that's kind of got to tuck behind the curtain for a minute, but it's like, those things get me, man. When people talk about sick kids, or cancer, like I'm not, those things, there's too real and they're too close to me to where I take them very seriously. And the other side of it is the anxiety. John has seen me straight up walk out of meet and greets, because I can't deal with that. I almost want to put up a sign when we do meet and greets that says like stripper rules, like I'm allowed to touch you, you're not allowed to touch me, because anxiety's so new to me, man. It's 3 years old, 2018, I had my first kind of dealing with it and got diagnosed with panic disorder. And so meet and greets are hard for me now. They never were before. I think what James does, I could handle a little more, because in those atmospheres, like in our meet and greets, you know, I sit there and talk to a person for 5-6 minutes every single time. I feel like I'd be more okay with a convention, because like most of the time you're just signing stuff and then you talk to the person for a couple seconds, get to know them a little bit, and then that's it, you know, and then you got to take a picture at the end. You know, they do picture lines like we do. I don't know. I feel like I'd be a little more okay with the convention side. Our meet and greets are very involved, man. And they become therapy sessions real quick for a lot of people, which, listen, that's why we do them. And we want people, you know, again, I knew what I was getting into at the end of the day.
James, first time you met Jamie Lee Curtis, what was that meeting like, or what's the rules, especially for the 2018 Halloween movie where she's coming back after all this time as Laurie? Did she treat you as Michael Myers, or how did they make it where it seemed like this whole time this character yourself has been chasing her throughout this whole length of time?
Well, when she showed up on set, again, we've been shooting a couple weeks by then. When she showed up on set, I walked out of my dressing room. She walked out of hers. She marched right over, extended her hand, very businesslike. Hi, Jamie. You know, and then we had a very, very short conversation, and I said to her, I can't remember if it was then or it was in the hair and makeup trailer, that I said, look, I'm going to give you all the space in the world. You have things to deal with as your character that I can't possibly know. So I think it's best that, you know, I'm just stepping aside. I'm in the shadows. You know, I'm there if you want to talk to me about something, but I'm not gonna communicate. And so she was like, fair enough, no big deal. And then we didn't talk for quite a while, and then finally we had a big fight scene that actually didn't show up on 2018. We reshot the ending, but it was a big fight scene. And so she was at the opposite end of the trailer getting her hair done, and I was getting my beard trimmed, and all of a sudden she gets up, marches over, and she goes, okay, let's talk about this fight thing. And we just had a very business-like conversation, and it was over. And at the end of it, after the movie was done, she was about to leave. We took a picture together, and then she texted me, said, you know, I'll see you on the next one, whatever. And then we didn't see each other all on Kills. Our schedules were completely different. So I never saw her. I was supposed to see her on the very final day when they bring in the big Monkey Muck photographer, you know, big celebrity photographer, and they do all the publicity shots and everything. We were supposed to do it together, like we did, you know, like when you see the poster with her face turned this way and my face, you know, like when you see us together. Dan Winters shot that. It was brilliant and an amazing photographer, and we had a very intimate time with that. I mean, we were, you know, but we were in a different space to create that, the but we didn't talk. And we talked a little bit, but we didn't get down into deep conversation like friends would. And then after Halloween Kills, she shot me a text, said, man, I'm so sorry I freaking missed you. Like, what they did was they decided to shoot us separately and stitch us together with, you know, with CGI. And I was disappointed because I thought, well, it's over. I get to see her, and, you know, we're going to have it. But then we texted back and forth, and we both agreed that probably not a good idea for us to be good friends until after Halloween ends. Because we both respect each other a lot. And there's a million things to respect about that woman. I have just tremendous respect for her. So, but then out of the blue, she called me, a few days ago because I'd seen the film. She hadn't seen it yet. She was about to see it. She's going to Venice. All these things we needed to talk about. So we had a very beautiful conversation. But I think that the depth and breadth of any friendship there is going to be after we finish Halloween.
Right. Now, Zach, in your ideal world, obviously you'd love to be in a Halloween movie, but how would you want to be killed by Michael Myers? What is your
I don't know.
Give me your favorite death scene in Halloween 2018, and then tell me how you'd want to be killed by James here.
I think my favorite death scene. Okay, not my favorite kill, but my favorite death scene. The motion light backyard is horrifying. Horrifying. The gate, I don't like now. That's not my favorite death because, again, I'm not a gore guy. So the gate through the chin's not my deal. I love it in the movie, and it obviously has its place. I don't know, man. I think the killing of the podcaster, the female podcaster, because you don't see it. It's terrifying, but you don't actually see that death, and that's pretty. And then the runner up for me is obviously the head bang on the back of the couch banister, because it's just so quick, and you're like, "What the hell just happened?" And then it's not gory, yeah. So I think those are the. And how would I like to? I don't know, man. I don't know in a movie what character I would play to be killed if it was to be a random killing. But definitely you got to go with the knife, right? You got to go with the classic knife or the neck break or something. I don't want to be set on fire. I don't want a chain around my neck. Knife, hand to hand. That's what I want. That's what I'd want.
What bothers me, I think, the most about that woman whose head gets smashed is that
you keep bringing this up.
If you could do a movie, like a 90-minute movie on her life leading up to that moment, you probably put the turkey in the oven, got the mashed potatoes going, got the TV on, and then here's a guy who walks in there, no remorse.
She doesn't even know he's in there.
No, I'm just like, yeah.
That's the best death because you're not even scared. You don't even see it or feel it coming. I love that John wants to do a spin-off movie on that lady.
I just care. I feel bad for her.
He wants a character development story just on that lady alone.
She actually slept with Michael 30 years prior. So anyway, guys, this has been awesome. I know, obviously, Shinedown's on tour right now. I know we have dates coming soon in the new year. They actually got the new album. Obviously, we got Halloween Kills coming in October 15th. Where can people find out about you, James, if they want to check out your socials or to see how you're doing?
That's super simple. Instagram is just James Jude Courtney. Facebook fan page James Jude Courtney. Twitter, simple stuff. Easy enough to find.
Love it. And Zach, obviously, where can people find you at?
All these people know where to find me. Come on. My Instagram is ZMyersOfficial, and so is my Twitter, and my I have a public Facebook and a private Facebook. Do not have my private Facebook, you weirdos. And John and I will probably have to be together for Halloween Kills. I feel like we'll have to watch it together. Yeah,
well, I think we'll be ending in Florida, so I think it'd be.
When's this is coming out on Halloween, but when's the release, James?
15th of October.
15th. I'll be leaving Orlando then because I'm staying down there for Halloween Horror Nights.
We'll still be here on the East Coast, so we'll just meet up.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
So we'll check on that woman in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, thank you for this. And
lots of fun, guys.
Thank you all for checking out this week's episode. Once again, I'm John. If you liked what you heard and saw today, subscribe to our YouTube channel, find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and check out our brand new merch store with hats, coffee mugs, t-shirts, other cool stuff coming down the pipeline. Again, thank you all for support. Be safe and see you next week.